What's up, party people and magic makers? Destiny here on this magical Monday. Today we are going to be talking about the duality of anger. Last week we were talking about the duality of the program of not feeling good enough and how it can look like being overconfident or cocky. Today we're going to talk about that anger. So, growing up as a kid, I was like a really angry kid and I had a tendency to like lash out, and so I kind of got like, called names like Rage Monster, or, like just like I was an angry, unhappy kid. But what I've come to learn as an adult is even though anger used to be something that was seen as bad or wrong, it's actually not. There's a beautiful duality to anger. And I think the piece that is misconveyed, misconstrued, miscommunicated is what you do with that anger. See, I believe being angry is okay. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. Um, we we need it, and we need it because it helps to light a fire under our butts. Anger is the only emotion that fights injustice. And so it's something that we can utilize as a tool to fuel us in moving forward, in getting shit done, right? And like just being so irritated or frustrated that it actually moves us. It definitely lights that fuse to like boom and like propel us forward. The part of anger that I think needs to be corrected or shifted is where we point it. I tend to point my anger at those people that are closest to me, um, because they feel safe, right? They feel safe to me. However, they're not the ones that always deserve that anger. And so I think how we express it, how we show it, who we point it towards, that's the piece that we get to tweak and change and adjust, right? As kids, we don't have that capacity to be like, oh, I don't know who deserves it, or we don't even, sometimes we don't even know why we're angry. We just feel this like bubbling up inside of us and it just goes rah, all over the place, right? But as adults, we can take that rah all over the place and like direct it. And this is the piece that's really important, is where we are directing it to. And notice I said where, not whom, right? Directing your anger at one particular person and physically reacting to it, that's just straight up abuse. Directing it towards a cause, directing it towards, changing a system, directing it towards an improvement, that's where the magic is. And so this is a thing that you gotta like really recognize in yourself. And how do you react to your anger, right? I'm a yeller. In my family, it was okay to be angry and it was okay to yell, and it was like just yell one on top of the other until you're heard, right? It doesn't work with everybody. My husband is the prime example of this. He will not yell back. And in my pattern, that script that plays in my head, somebody yells, second person yells back. And we have this script that keeps kicking up, right? So yell, 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 yell. You gotta hear me. No, you gotta hear me, over and over again. Well, what happens if one person is yelling and the other person is just not? It's a stark contrast to what that pattern is telling you is supposed to happen, right? And this is where I realized, oh my goodness, there are other ways to manage and to be angry and still like be respectful and responsible and quite honestly kind, because your anger can be kind, right? But the thing that you got to figure out is what's triggering your anger, okay? Because the more you figure out what triggers your anger and what it is that really pisses you off, and you heal that, the less of the yelling and the rage monster and the complete just like stuffing all of your anger in, and then that implosion that happens, the less likely that will occur because you don't have those triggers triggering you. Okay? So how do you figure out what is triggering you when you're angry. A big part of that is just sitting down and like being quiet. And I know when you're angry and when you're in that moment, you just want to like rage out and you just want to like get it out of you because it doesn't feel good having it like all bubbling up in you without a place to go, right? This is where you can like do some breathing techniques where you literally like just out the anger, but also asking yourself, why are you angry? Just taking that breath in that moment, right? And like, of course, the reason you're angry is going to be the right now, the thing that just happened, right? Then you ask yourself, how do you feel about this thing that just happened? Yeah, it's angry, right? It could be frustrated, it could be irritated, it could be sad, it could be hurt. Usually sad and hurt are what's the actual emotions that anger covers, because anger tends to be a safer emotion to have. So here you are and you're sad and you're hurt, right? Well, go back and think about it in your memory. What was the first time where you felt whatever those feelings and those emotions are for yourself? That's the thing that needs to be healed. That's the event that needs to be healed. So that when it comes time for you to, like, the next time you're going to be angry, it doesn't get rid of the anger. You don't want to get rid of your anger. You just want to redirect it to something that you can utilize so it can fuel you, rather than like shaming you or making you feel horrible about yourself. Like, we've got other people that already do that. Like, let's not do it to ourselves, right? So really, like, just taking a look at where the anger actually comes from. And yeah, it comes from before the age of 18. Okay? So taking a look at that and healing all of that stuff. When you are angry, you can react in a different way. It doesn't have to be like the full-blown just monster, right? It can actually be a controlled anger that gets shit done. Because I tell you, like, I don't have to yell very loud for people to be like, oh crap, move, right? She's talking, like, move. And that's because of the work that I've done on being angry and having this anger. And it is possible, right? Growing up as a kid, like I said, anger was the emotion that we were allowed to show, and it was the okay emotion. But like I said, it doesn't work for everybody. And so then what? That's a place for us to grow. That's a place for us to like explore and to see how we can communicate our anger in a way that actually gets the thing that we want done. And then we don't have to be angry because the shit got done, right? And there is a piece to this about like surrendering as to how it gets done. Like, who cares how it gets done as long as it gets done, right? Like, paying attention to those things. But the first step is always like, wait a minute. Why am I angry about this? And if you find yourself getting angry about really little things, really nitpicky things, you've got some healing to do. Okay? And use that technique. Go back and think about what was that first trigger for you, and clean that crap up. And if you need support with that, book an energy clearing with me. That's exactly what I do. Okay? And let's clean that shit up. Because like, the you that can direct your anger towards the cause or the system or the injustice that is the actual upset, oh man, that's the magical you. That's the powerful you. That's the kick-ass you, right? So let's go and do that. What do you say? All right, so until next week, have an amazing week. Let me know how this tool worked for you. I would love to hear it in the comments. All right, and until next Monday, peace.